Hi everyone, my name is Pei-Hsin Cho. I am a freelance illustrator and animator currently based in Berlin. I was fortunate enough to be commissioned by the Adobe Creative Residency Community Fund to create an illustration using Adobe Fresco. Sketching with graphite has always been my way to go in illustration and animation projects, and I was immediately surprised by how natural the pencil brush feels in Adobe Fresco. Though I've only been using it for a couple of weeks, I really like it. In this video, I'll share with you what I like the most about Adobe Fresco and my drawing process. So let's get started. This is a time-lapse of my illustration process. I was drawing in Adobe Fresco with my Cintiq Pro. I finished the sketching, shading, and initial coloring all in Adobe Fresco. And then I used Photoshop to make the final touches. Adobe Fresco allows you to record your own drawing process and then you can simply export it in a high-resolution video. This is actually my first time watching my own digital painting process, and I think it's a great feature to record and share our drawing process seamlessly. Now I'd like to share a couple of things that I particularly like in Adobe Fresco. I use the default pencil brush a lot in this illustration. You can find the pencil brush in the pixel brushes section. When you select the brush, you'll see a star icon appeared, and you can tap it to save the brush into your favorite brushes list. I was super surprised by the default pencil brush in Adobe Fresco. When I started sketching, the strokes piled up so naturally that it visually felt like drawing with a real pencil on paper. If you want to have more brushes, you can tap the plus button in the Pixel Brushes window to get different brushes from Adobe website. Or you can also import your own brushes, which takes ABR files, same as Adobe Photoshop. You can also customize your brushes by tapping here. There's many options you can adjust and play around, and any changes will be auto-saved. In order to save more time in changing the brushes while you're drawing, you can keep the brushes window open by tapping the handle here. Then you can drag it to wherever you want and change to the brush you want to use at any time. Here's a short key I found very useful. By pressing B on the keyboard, it will switch to the last brush you used. Since I mainly used two pencil brushes in this illustration, it was super convenient and saved me a lot of time switching manually between the two brushes. Another great feature of Adobe Fresco is the eraser. Let's say I went too dark here at this guy's sweater while I was shading, and now I want it to be a bit lighter. In the Pixel Eraser, there's one option called Rubber that I like to use, and it feels like the real soft rubber I use for sketching on paper. And now I'm going to show you another way to erase that feels even more natural to me. Let's select back to the pencil brush first, and now you can simply tap and hold this little floaty circle here. And then I can erase with the same brush as my pencil. Or if it's a big area, I can just tap the circle twice and then I don't have to hold it the whole time while I'm erasing. This little circle is called Touch Shortcut, and I found it really handy. You can find other functions of it in here. Clipping mask is a feature I use a lot while shading and coloring to make sure my drawings have as much flexibility to try different approaches without having to redo my drawings. These two guys here, for example, I first created a white filled layer following the girl's outline and then I put it underneath the outline. Now I want to draw the texture of her sweater. I will create a new layer. As you can see, I draw out of the outline a lot. And now I tap this button to turn this layer into a clipping mask, which means it's clipped inside the white base layer. This clipped layer will only be visible within the boundary of the base layer. You can have as many layers as you want to clip into the base layer. So I can separately draw different parts of her clothes. And I use the same way to color this illustration as well. Clipping mask would make your life a lot easier if you want to make changes in the future. For example, when coloring, I can simply adjust the opacity of the pencil texture layer to make the color stand out more or less without losing the texture or having to redraw anything again. And with the white base layer, I can even reposition or resize my object, which will be helpful if I want to animate this illustration later on. The editing process between Fresco and Photoshop is really easy. You can either export the file by tapping this button here, or let's tap this arrow button here to go back to the home page, and the file is auto-saved in Adobe Creative Cloud. And now you can access it directly in Photoshop, in the Cloud Documents section. Here I use Photoshop to make the final touches of my illustration, like editing the final color and adding some additional effects. So these are the main things I wanted to share with you about Adobe Fresco. I hope you enjoyed it and thank you for watching.